Ask Alec.
Hey guys, it's Alec Torelli, and today I'm going to talk to you about my recent session on Poker Night in America in Choctaw, Oklahoma. I started this session out stuck quite a bit, and I had a little bumpy day on the first day, and just like a few hands didn't work out. So it was a 2-day session. I played 8 hours each day, and the game was great. I was feeling great. I sort of engineered my pregame routine. I worked out, I ate healthy, I slept well. I sort of did some pep talk and just got myself fired up to play some high stakes poker on television, and I really felt like I was going to absolutely crush it. But sometimes, you can only control how you play your hand. You can't control the cards that were dealt. And I just got in some tough situations, and I made some mistakes, and I just was a little, like, my timing was a little bit off. And it was quite frustrating because I felt like in most of these spots on the river where, it could have gone either way, I was like wrong. Like I bluffed it. I didn't really bluff at the wrong time, but I just called once when he had it, and then I folded once when he didn't have it. And there's just some variance there. I had some tough spots, and they didn't work out. They didn't go my way. And I think that I learned a lot from this session. Every session I try to approach with what can I learn? How can I get a little bit better? And I learned something that I'd like to share with you. And it's that in these spots where things aren't going your way, those are really the times in your poker career or your life or your business that really end up defining you. And those are the times that, you really are at a fork in the road. And if you look back to those big losing sessions you had, there was probably a pivotal moment when there was still hope for the session to go back to the positive, or there was a moment where if one more mistake happened, if the straw that broke the camel's back, so to speak, came to fruition, it just completely derail and you go off the deep end, and you go off for 5 or 10 buy-ins, whatever it is, right? And that's how those big losing streaks start. That's how bad things happen, right? So there's like a moment in your session when you come to this sort of crossroads, and you have to decide. You have to consciously look at the situation and decide, how am I going to react to what happens? Sometimes you can't control what happens, but you can control how you react to it. And so I was in this spot, and we had a break, and called my wife, talked to her. Sometimes we talk about the strategy and the games and whatever. And she gave me some good advice. And she said, well, why don't you pretend like you are teaching someone else? And what advice would you offer to your students? What advice would you offer to your clients? What advice would you offer to people that ask you this question? And I think this was great advice, because it's always easier to know the right answer when it applies to someone else, right? Like that's why, psychologists have a good read on someone else's situation, or it's easy to give advice to a friend when they can't see their own reality because they're sort of caught up in it. They're emotional. They're like sort of blinded by all the things around them. But when you look at someone else's reality, it's easier to kind of understand, like, this seems obvious to me, right? We've all been in that spot before with friends that are in relationships or whatever it is. And so I sort of tried to separate myself from the situation and say, what advice would I give to someone in Alec's spot if he was asking me a question? And I talked myself through this, and I came up with some good answers about what advice I would tell myself to turn things around, be more positive, focus only on the results, tell myself that I'm still confident, I'm one of the best players in the game, I know I could win in this game, and there's variance and there's luck, and not to get emotionally distraught about the short-term things that happen, but to focus on the bigger picture and just playing my game, right? Go back to the fundamentals, like what things am I going to do, what adjustments am I going to make, and changing my focus from things aren't going my way and I'm losing and I'm frustrated and I'm tilted and it's annoying losing on television, to how am I going to adjust the next time I go back? How am I going to play the next hand better? How am I going to get a little bit better with the next opportunity that comes up to take advantage of it? And so that was a big mental shift that I made. And that moment was that fork in the road where I could have easily gone towards a direction if I wasn't aware, I wasn't conscious. I got a lot of support from my great wife, that I could have just been in a spot where, the session could have come undone and I could have just continued to play mediocre or bad, or anything that's sub A game is not really acceptable for me. So anything that is not my ultimate best poker is just something I'm not satisfied with or proud of. And it's something that, I always strive to play. So I was really able to turn it around, and I did come back a winner. I ended up winning $7,000 on the session, which was huge. I was down like 20,000 and I ended up winning like $5,000 or whatever. But aside from the money, it was just the empowerment to be able to be in the spot where you're sort of like your back's against the wall, you're losing a lot and you're frustrated, things aren't going your way, making some bad decisions, getting unlucky in a few spots, bad timing, etc. and then to be able to turn it around and have things start to go your way. And it's amazing how when you change the focus from something negative to something positive, it's sort of serendipitous. Like, it almost seems like you start to get luckier, or perhaps it's like the bias where you only notice the good things that are happening instead of only focusing on the bad things that are happening. And those bad beats, those bad timing, the bad situations, those mistakes sort of fall off you like oil to vinegar, and then you sort of stick to the things that are empowering you and contributing to a win. So I was really proud that I was able to turn it around, and it was like a confidence victory for me, right? Just going there and winning 5,000 felt like winning 50, because I came from a rock and a hard place and was able to bounce back from it. So sometimes it's even those losses, those small losses, that are moral victories, or those small wins that are the biggest wins internally. And if you could focus on being in control at all times of your emotions, of your outcome, of your future, of what you can control, and channel all your energy towards that, I feel like that's when empowerment and great things happen at the poker table in your life as well. Hope you took something from this video. It was an awesome experience in Choctaw. I'm really excited to go to Florida and play on Poker Night in America in a couple weeks as well. So look out for me there. More videos coming. Stay subscribed. If you're not already, you're crazy. I don't know what you're doing. Subscribe to my channel. I'm putting out a lot of awesome, cool poker content in the future. If you guys have questions, send them to me on alectorelli.com. You could submit all your hands to me there. Click on poker, submit your hands. You could send me any hand that you'd like me to review for my Hand of the Day show. Otherwise, if you have a question that you'd like answered on this channel, click on contact, send me an email. I read every single one, and I will pick the best ones and answer them here in videos for you guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Cheers.